Hey, hi all, welcome to ScriptQA. In my previous session, I have covered data types in Java, and now in this particular session, I'm going to cover variables in Java. Okay, so now what is meant by variable? So variable is a container which is used to store the values. Okay, so basically variable is a container. Okay, and which is used to store the values. Okay, so now there are three types of variable available. So first one is the local variable, second one is the instance variable, and third one is the static variable. Okay, so now what is meant by local variable? So variable which is declared inside the method is called as the local variable. Variable which is declared or initialized inside the method is called as the local variable. Okay, so what is the scope of that particular variable? Okay, so a local variable we can access inside the method only. So scope will be the inside the method only. Okay, and memory gets allocated when method execution start, and memory will get allocated when method's execution end. Okay, so this is about the local variable. Now we'll quickly jump on Eclipse and we'll see there how to create the local variable. Okay, so for that I'll just create one new class. I'll say class. I'll give the name variable, and I will use the public static void main. Okay, now I'll simply create one method void. I'll give it name as a m. Okay, and this is the method I have created. Okay, now what I said local variable. Okay, about local variable, what I said local variable which is declared or which is initial, sorry, which is declared inside the method. Okay, so what I will do, I will create one variable. Okay, int a is equal to 20. Okay, so now this particular variable is inside the method. Okay, so this is method start and this is method end. So if you see, this blue highlighted area is the method area. Okay, now this particular variable is inside this blue area, that means this is inside the method. So when variable is inside the method is called as the local variable. Now second statement of a local variable is scope is inside the method only. Okay, now if I come here, okay, and if I see here, okay, and I'll say system dot out dot println a. So scope means, okay, from where I can access this particular variable. So within inside the method I can surely access this particular, because this is local variable. But when I'm trying this variable from the another method, that is the main method. Okay, so I'll simply say system dot out dot println and I will say a. Now in this case my compiler is not going to understand what is meant by this a. Why? Because this particular variable is declared inside the method only, this particular method. So this particular method, that means this blue highlighted area is knowing what is meant by a. Okay, outside this blue highlighted area, uh, uh, compiler will not going to understand what is meant by a. If you see, it's giving some error. Okay, so I'll quickly check what is the error. So error is cannot a cannot be resolved to the variable. That means it's not able, he's not understanding what is meant by a. Okay, so this is called as the local variable. This is how we can create the local variable. Now coming to the second type of variable. Okay, so I'll quickly jump on presentation. Okay, so second type of variable is the instance variable. Okay, so now about the instance variable. So instance variable which is declared inside the class and outside the method. So instance variable should be inside the class but outside the method. It should not be inside the any method. Okay, inside the class and outside the method. Okay, so instance variable should be declared inside the class and outside the method. Okay, so scope of the variable should be inside the class. Okay, so this particular variable I can access anywhere inside the class. Okay, and when it will be get memory, when object is getting created. So instance variable, you will get the memory when object is getting created. Okay, now I'll quickly jump on Eclipse and I will create one instance variable. So what is the definition of instance variable? It should be inside the class but outside the method. So if you see, this is my class. Okay, so this is my class. Okay, so local variable should be inside the class. So I will write here int a, or maybe I will write int b is equal to, let's say, 30. Okay, so now this int b will be my instance variable. Why? Because this is inside the class but outside the method. If you see, here I am having one method, here I am having one method, but this b is not inside the any method. So this b will be called as the instance variable. Okay, so what b will be called as instance variable, because this is inside the class and outside the method. Okay, now what is the scope of this particular variable? I can access this particular variable in this particular class. That means in this blue highlighted area. Okay, in this blue highlighted area, I can access this variable anywhere. Okay, so what I will do, I will simply say, here in this particular method, I'll say simply system.out.println and I'll see b. Okay, so now it's not giving any error to accessing the b. That means I can easily access this particular b, inside the method am. Okay, so this is called as the instance variable. So now third type of variable is the static variable. Okay, so now what is meant by static variable? The variable with the static keyword. Okay, so first thing, the variable should have static keyword. Okay, okay. Now the variable should be declared inside the class but outside the method. So this is exactly similar to your instance variable. Only difference is that it will have static keyword before the variable declaration. Now the scope is inside the class only. The scope is inside the class, similar to the instance variable. It is also having scope inside the class only. Okay, and when it will get the memory, when class is getting loaded. So your dynamic loader will be load each and every class inside the main memory. At that time, this particular variable will get the memory allocation. Okay, so we'll quickly create the static variable as well. How to create the static variable? As I said, this is inside the class. If you see, statement inside the class and outside the method. So exactly similar to the instance variable. So just below the instance variable, I will create one variable. I'll say int c is equal to, let's say, 40. Okay, now I have to just attach the static word here. Okay, so now this is called as the static variable. So for this static variable as well, scope is inside the class. That means this blue highlighted area is the class area, and within this particular area, I can access the static variable anywhere. Okay, but there are some restrictions on static accessing the static variable. Okay, so that we will cover later on when we are going to cover the static keyword. At that time, we'll discuss about more about the static. Okay, now I can access the static anywhere, means I can access this inside this main method. Okay, so what I will do, I'll say system.out.println and I will say simply c. Okay, I can access this c here. Okay, can I access this inside the main method? So I'll say simply system.out.println and I'll say c. Okay, now I can you can see this c I can access anywhere. Okay, so this is called as the static variable. So there are three types of variable: local variable, instance variable, and static variable. Okay, so local variable mainly inside the method. Okay, scope is also inside the method. Memory get allocated when method execution start, and deallocate when method's execution end. Okay, now instance variable, which is inside the class but outside the method. Okay, scope is also inside the class only, memory gets allocated when object is getting created. Okay, when I'm going to create the object for this particular class, at that time it will be memory get allocated for this particular variable. Now about the static keyword, which is exactly similar to the instance. Okay, from the creation point of view. Okay, okay, but only the static keyword is before the that particular variable. So static variable we are going to discuss uh, deeply in upcoming lecture. But as of now, just remember the variable which is having static keyword is called as a static variable. Okay, so which is inside the class and outside the method. Okay, scope is as well inside the class. Okay, and when it will get the memory, when class gets loaded inside the main memory, when class gets loaded inside the main memory. That's it for today's session. Please share, like, and subscribe. We will be meeting in our next video. Till then, bye bye.